you tried to put the emotion of the weekend behind you this weekend and sort of get focus back on football?
Yeah, look, I suppose it was a very difficult day on the day, and I suppose the next 24 hours after that was quite difficult. But I've spoke to Wande and the playing group, and because Wande is such a positive guy and the influence he has on the playing group, the playing group have know they've got a job to do and are focused on that for the back end of the week.
Everything you hear about him is he's a wonderful character and a team first sort of guy. How's he holding up?
Yeah, he's good, as I say, straight from, even when he was lying on the pitch, waiting for the ambulance, he had his phone and he was taking selfies on the pitch and sending them to his wife saying that he's all good and nothing wrong with him. So that's the type of guy that he is. He was more concerned about Harvey and Issa, that he wanted the staff to look after them and leave him alone. So that's the type of guy Wande is. He's always team first. He loves his teammates and he enjoys football and he enjoys life.
Have you ever, you've been in the game for so long now, have you ever seen anything quite like that? A 36-year-old breaks his leg in pretty horrific circumstances and he's there trying to put everyone else first. Have you ever really seen anything like that?
Not an injury like that. No. The only time I've seen or been involved in that was when I broke my leg. So in a game. So yeah, it's been a long time, and the noise. I don't think you'll ever get that noise out. Away. It was quite confronting. But knowing Wande is the way he is, he'll be very positive and he'll bounce back, and I think won't be long before he's given our medical staff, grief to get back. So we'll go into this game this week, confident, and one day, he'll make sure that the boys will be up for the game.
Carl, you shared your experience of breaking your leg with Wande to sort of help him through it?
Not at this stage. Wande gets back later today from Melbourne, so he's still been in Melbourne all week. I've had a few people reach out to me that have had similar injuries as well to say, they're more than happy to speak to him, because it is a difficult injury as a professional player to go through. It's like all major injuries. I'm sure he'll bounce back strong.
Can he come back? Will he determined to resume his professional career next season?
Look, I suppose that's a bit early to make those decisions at this stage. We'll see how his body adapts to the rod that he's got in there. You're not going to know until you start putting, once it's healed and you start putting load through it, how it adapts to it.
Have you had any clarity from either the big government or the league re ambulances in stadiums and whether that will be something that will be addressed going forward?
Look, I suppose that's something for the club, Melbourne City. I think Melbourne Victory have an ambulance at the game, so that's something for Melbourne City. But in saying that, the care that Wande received on the pitch was excellent. The emergency physician that was there straight away, he looked after Wande and made sure that his care was taken excellently. We can't fault that care. It was fantastic.
Do you feel like, not that the boys need any added incentive, but do you feel there might be a little bit extra in it on Saturday night, just a team trying to really perform for Wande?
Yeah, I suppose they will, and that can go, it can go good or it could go negatively. They could put too much pressure on themselves to do that. It's important that we go there, focus as a team on what we need to do to win against Brisbane, because Brisbane are a good side and they've got one of the best defensive records in the league. So we know it's going to be a tough game for us, and it's important that we have good focus on what we need to do in the game to get the 3 points.
Felt like the injury took a lot of sting out of the City game, but how much heart do you take that, at one point you had the league leaders, 3-1 down at home. It was a very strong first sort of 60 minutes or so.
Yeah, look, Melbourne Victory are the best, Melbourne City are the best team in the league. Their performances this year have been very consistent. We saw that firsthand on Sunday, how good they are. They punish you for mistakes. and they have a lot of control in the game and some high quality players that made us punished us for some mistakes, and to concede a penalty, right at the end was a tough one. But we were, before the game, if you said to me we would have a point away to City, I would take a point. So in that regard, we're happy that we got a point, and I've always said, home is where we need to get our points. This is needs to be a fortress for us, and our support here and our fans really help us, and we're going to need them Saturday night to get behind us and come out and support the team.
How's Ace started centre half on the weekend? Is that something you're likely to persist with? Obviously, you've got coming back in this week.
Yeah, look, Nick Ansell was supposed to start last week, but he pulled up not well in the morning, so we didn't take that risk. Look, I really like Issa playing as a centre back. I like the way he controls the game back there. I thought he was excellent there last week for us, considering he hasn't played there much this year. But I think he plays that position very well.
How's George? I feel like one of the most least talked about injuries of all time, given what happened with Wonder. But how's George's knee?
Yeah, George is unfortunate. He's going to be. If things go well, we might get him back at the end of the season. It's a long-term injury, so he's had a fracture to his knee as well. So it's not great, which is unfortunate because George has been very good for us this year. He's got some important goals for us off the bench, and he started the game because he's has been so good for us this year that he got the opportunity to come in and start the game and scored early for us. So. It's unfortunate for George, but he'll bounce back for that, and hopefully we can get him back before the end of the season.
How do you take that? It's a big blow. He draws his first start in a while, scores a goal, and then...
Yeah, as I said to him, I don't know what he's done. He's got some bad luck because he's had some injuries that has affected his career. When things start going well for him, something happens to him. So I said, you need to get rid of this bad luck. But bounce back. I know he'll bounce back because he's a very strong guy, and he's shown that this year. He's started the season in the team, and then he's been out of the team. But whenever I've called on him, he's done what I've asked of him. So that's the type of guy that George is.
Bernardo, just another week away here.
Yeah, look. Hopefully it's another week. The type of player Bernardo is. He needs that sharpness and that quickness, and he just. Needs to keep working on that at training. It's only been 2 weeks training with the full team. So to be fair to him, he needs maybe another week or two before he can be back at the level that he needs to be playing in the A-League.
Kieran Kunda, have you seen his season? Fans probably haven't seen as much of him this year as they might have expected.
Yeah, look, Nestor's he's still a very young boy that's learning the game, and and it's important that we give him the time to learn the game and iron out and make mistakes, and that's where he's at the moment. He needs to learn a few things. He knows we've had many a conversation with him when he knows where he needs to be at. And unfortunately, a lot of times he hasn't been at those levels that we need him to be at. But he'll keep working, and we'll keep pushing him, and he just has to take his time. It's not a race. He's only a 16-year-old kid that's he's in front of a lot of other kids at his age, but we'll take time with him and give him every opportunity that he needs to get to the level that he needs to be at to perform in the A-League.
Your depth will be really tested even more so now with George and Wonder out for most of the season. You're confident in some of the younger boys that you've got enough to still do some damage?
Yeah, we've got some really exciting young players. And it's opportunities for them. Johnny Yale got his first opportunity on the weekend, and he's a young player that we have a lot of belief in. So as I say, you've got to be in the right position at the right time and you've got to make the most of it. And that's the message I've sent to the young players all year. If you do the right things at training and you work hard, you'll be given an opportunity at this club. So that doesn't change. We've had a few injuries over the course of the season. We got a couple more last week, so it just opens doors for the young players. But they have to, they're not going to be given the opportunity. They have to work for it.